Welcome to Planet MicroCap. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and joining me right now is Bill Bennett. He is the CEO of Innovative Food Holdings. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is IVFH. And Innovative Food Holdings will be presenting at our upcoming investor conference, the Planet MicroCap Showcase Vegas, in partnership with MicroCap Club, taking place April 22 through 24, 2025. For more information, to register to see Bill present in Vegas, please register at planetmicrocapshowcase.com. And with that, Bill, thank you for joining me today. How you doing?
Absolutely. Doing well. Thanks, Robert.
Absolutely. It's great to have you again. Also, Happy New Year. It's January 14th we're recording this, but
We
it's
can
still
still say Happy New Year.
we're still within that realm, right?
That's right.
Well, Bill, again, thank you for taking the time here, and also we're excited to see you present here in Vegas. I mean, most people who are probably watching this have some awareness of the innovative food story. It's had many different machinations over the years. I mean, I've even interviewed past management for many times, but you also just did a long form interview with Ben Claremont on our Compounders podcast here, which is phenomenal. I recommend everybody go and check that out. So, we're doing a quick hitter here for those that maybe have some familiarity with the story, but, give them kind of the main overview and things to understand as we move forward here in 2025. So, with that, I will be quiet now. Bill, can you start us off with that quick overview and history of the company?
Yeah, sure. So the company has been around for over 20 years. We've been public for that long, um, which is sort of unique, I think, in the microcap space. The company has been, for the majority of its lifetime, focused on the specialty food category. So specialty food is really anything that you can't buy at the normal grocery store. So this is unique products that restaurants and hospitals and educational institutions and everything use to complement the kind of more typical items that they might purchase from the large distributors that you may have heard of, like a Cisco or US Foods or somebody like that. So we operate in the specialty food service space. We have a pretty unique model in that the majority of our sales come from our dropship business. So the idea here is we don't actually own the inventory. We work with and develop a network of dropship vendors who that send our products directly to the end customer, the restaurant. So the way we think about this is that our biggest formal customer is US Foods. The US Foods customers, the restaurants order through them. The order comes to us and then onto our dropship network. Now, the benefit of this, of course, it's an incredibly capital light business, and that as we grow that dropship business, it scales really indefinitely with very little additional overhead. But in addition, we've also made a couple acquisitions recently in the food distribution space. So a company called Golden Organics out of Denver, Colorado, and then just recently one called Loco Food Distribution out of Fort Collins, Colorado. We'll actually be combining those two businesses under one roof in Denver, and very excited about the profitable business that that brings to Innovative Food
So,
Holdings.
Bill, thank you for that full overview there as well. And listen, we'll probably have you back on for an even longer one to talk about some of the recent acquisitions and whatnot. But for those again that may have had some familiarity, back in the day with, and now, it's almost, I don't want to say necessarily a newish story, but what would you say is the primary difference between what people know of as, old IVFH to now the new one under the Bill Bennett CEO-ship?
Yeah, so I've been in role just barely coming up on 2 years now in March. My background is with all big companies. So most recently, I came from Kroger, where I ran their $10 billion e-commerce business. Before that, I worked for Walmart, General Mills, and SC Johnson. So a bunch of blue chip big companies. And when I came here, I looked at the portfolio of businesses that Innovative Food Holdings had under its umbrella. And we just had a lot of stagnant or unprofitable businesses that didn't make sense for kind of the what I felt like should be the long-term strategy of the company. So we spent my first year really cleaning up the P&L and the asset base. So we sold off or closed, I think the number is 8 different entities. The biggest of which was the consumer e-commerce business called igourmet.com, as well as mouth.com. Those had been a huge drag on the P&L for the last several years. We actually lost $12 million over the 5 years that we owned those two businesses. And so just this last fall, we were able to complete the divestiture of that e-commerce business and really free up the core B2B portion of the business, the specialty food service business that I referenced earlier, freeing it up to be able to now grow profitably and drop that cash to the bottom line that it's been producing all that time. The other big thing that's changed, besides the acquisitions too, that I just mentioned, is that we just launched a large retail business. So this is the first time that we've actually sold products to go onto a retailer's shelf. We announced this back kind of late last summer and then scaled it during Q4. So we haven't released any specific numbers around revenue yet, but we have said that it should be worth tens of millions of dollars in revenue for the company. So very excited about that new sales channel, new stream of income for us, and really helps us leverage our asset base and our knowledge and our vendor connections in a fantastic way. So those are kind of some of the things that are different.
Absolutely. So you kind of hit on most of what I wanted to ask today for it's quick hitter, like I said, we'll do a longer one at some point.
Sure.
But, looking ahead from what you can tell us, what would you say are the main things that you want folks to really focus on when thinking about innovative food holdings for 2025? Some of those value catalysts.
Yeah, so when I first got here, we laid out three phases that we were going to take the company through. So the first was stabilization. It was really that first year that I just articulated, right? Lots of divesting, cutting expenses, and really kind of leaning up the company to focus on the core. The second phase that we're in now, we've called building the foundation for growth. And those two acquisitions were a key part of that because the idea is if we can use these acquisitions to really write the playbook for how we want to integrate acquisitions into the company, then this can really become a successful platform company where we can make acquisitions of multiple small distributors, plug them into those big national sales channels we have, and drive outsized returns for our shareholders. So that's really what we're seeking to prove out now with these two acquisitions over this phase two. I expect that to last our next 12 to 18 months. And then, my goal is that we will have proven at that point that we can do this successfully, and we'll lay out a much more aggressive acquisition strategy to be able to start kind of down that roll-up plan that I mentioned earlier. So I think very concretely for this year, the main value catalysts that I would encourage investors to watch for are first, the integration of those two businesses. So Golden Organics and Loco Foods, we want to not just stabilize those companies, but actually get them to significant growth and actually dropping money to the bottom line. Those are ambitious goals for this first year with them under our umbrella, but that's where we'll be focused. Second one is scaling of the retail business. So I mentioned we really just launched here in Q4, and so getting that to sort of a consistent profitability level is a huge focus for us this year. I've said publicly to our investors that in Q4 we don't expect to have made money on that business, given that we were just in scaling mode, but that as we get into the first half of next year, that we should be making nice margins on that business, and I'd ask or suggest that investors can watch for that. And then the third we've announced recently is more of, like, I guess you could say, kind of corporate governance and stock management. But we've announced that we're changing the name of the company from Innovative Food Holdings to Harvest Group. So we're very excited about that change. It really kind of aligns with a more intuitive explanation of what we do as a company. Harvest really kind of denotes getting close to the source and working with small producers, and that's kind of the gist of what we do. So that's going to be exciting. In partnership with that, we're working towards an uplisting to NASDAQ. So that will entail a reverse stock split so that we can get above the minimum price thresholds of the NASDAQ. And then after a specific waiting period, then working towards an actual uplisting to the NASDAQ. So I think that'll be a nice catalyst to just kind of increase liquidity in the stock, and certainly, open us up to a much broader swath of investors who will now have access to purchase the stock.
Very good. All right. Well, that's a great place to end it, Bill. With that, where can our audience go and find more information on, for now, IVFH?
For now, it's IVFH.com. Yeah, very simple.
Very good. All right. Well, Bill, thank you so much again for joining us here today. Good luck. Stay safe. And I look forward to seeing you in Vegas.
Sounds great. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.